there is anarchy that is prevailing in Nepal after Oli has resigned as the Nepalese Prime Minister. Nepal's parliament has been set on fire. Those dramatic visuals that are now emerging out of the neighboring country of Nepal, extremely shocking visuals that have come to the fore. Remember, yesterday we saw one of the walls of the parliament complex being damaged by the mob of protesters. Today, the Nepalese parliament has been set on fire. Rishabh, my colleague, is with me on the broadcast. Rishabh, these are extremely dramatic visuals that have come to the fore from Nepal. The Nepalese parliament being set on fire. Clearly, the fact that the Prime Minister has resigned hasn't really satiated the protesters. They want more, they're angry, and they want more action being taken towards the country and its development.
Well, definitely, see, the anger is clear. The corruption, the nepotism, the favoritism that persist in the system in Nepal is something that the youngsters are not comfortable with, and they're very clear that they want this system to be revamped politically, administratively, as well as when it comes to academics as well. There needs to be continuity, there needs to be a proper system in place, not that one government comes in, changes the system, the second government comes in, undo what the previous government has done, and the youngsters are at the receiving end. So, many suggest that social media ban was just a trigger point. This whole anger was brewing for long. And, for last 2 to 3 years, things have been like this, just that now people have decided to come on, streets. And the way that protest was handled by the administration, the fire was open, 19 people lost their lives, and that's when more crowds swell and the protest turned violent. The parliament has been set ablaze, Prachanda's house, KP Sharma Oli's house, Debua's house, all these houses have been either set ablaze or vandalized. The party offices of these leaders have been vandalized and set ablaze. A top view from Kathmandu right now shows smoke coming out of various buildings. Army had to intervene and evacuate the ministers because they were surrounded by protesters, and these ministers were evacuated using helicopters. So the way things have unfolded in last 48 hours in Nepal has compelled KP Sharma Oli to resign.
That's right, Rishabh, and as we speak, these are visuals that have come to the fore. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take you through what has been happening through the day today. The Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, just resigned a short while back. 4 of his cabinet ministers had already resigned this morning. There is absolute chaos that is prevailing in the neighboring country of Nepal. One such example is right in front of you, where the parliament building has been set on fire. But it's not just one building of the parliament that has been vandalized or set on fire. There have been multiple residences, specifically of the cabinet ministers under the Oli government, which have been stone-pelted, which have been vandalized, ransacked, or set on fire. In fact, KP Sharma Oli's residence has also been vandalized. My colleague Priyank is also joining us with more on this. Priyank, this is a chaotic situation. The parliament building has been set on fire. As we speak, there are fast-changing developments that are now happening in Nepal. What more are you hearing as far as KP Sharma Oli is concerned? There was speculation that he might flee the country.
Yes, Adisha, that looked likely because not even him, the entire cabinet's phone numbers are switched off. And what is very important to be seen that just a short while back, the flight radar was certainly showing that there was a Thai airline aircraft which landed at the Kathmandu International Airport, and since then these mobile phones are switched off. That information of the flight certainly came soon after the locals also spotted this Thai airline flying from the Kathmandu International Airport, because the protests happened at several locations. And then we got to know that 21 of these member parliament had put forward their resignation, which also followed by the resignation of the outgoing Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli. So it is very important to be piecing together all these set of information, which certainly suggests that he might have fled away from the country, looking at the situation. Look at the kind of visuals coming out from the parliament, which is the temple of...
I'm going to come back to you and Rishabh. Let me go across to Rose. Kendall. She's one of the protesters in Nepal. She's joining us at the moment. Rose, thanks very much for speaking with us at a chaotic time that your country is witnessing. Can I first understand from you now that KP Sharma Oli has resigned as the Prime Minister? Would you still go ahead with your protests?
Yes. So the Prime Minister of the country has resigned from his post. This was one of our requirements from the government, was the immediate resignation of the Prime Minister. On top of this, on top of our peaceful anti-corruption protests yesterday, the government of Nepal had fired shots, bullets, metallic bullets onto young kids, young children wearing school uniforms, wearing school bags. And this is not just a peaceful anti-corruption movement, but now we are speaking against the massacre that happened yesterday. 20 young children, 20 young kids and youth who did not have any political affiliation, who did not have any type of any type of power, weaponry. They were targeted. They were shot in the head, in the chest. There were so many steps you are supposed to take before shooting someone with a metallic bullet, and they crossed all that. Now we're seeing ministers trying to resign and get away with what they've done. But what we want is the international offices to look at this and prosecute them. And we want justice for the kids, for the children, for the young people who have lost their lives. We want that for our country.
Rose, there has been a growing demand from protesters and youngsters like you for a next generation leadership. You don't want the older ones ruling the country. There was also monarchy that your country has seen. Would you say now that the direction, the path that your country is taking is towards that?
Absolutely. We as Gen Z, we as young population of Nepal, we do not want to see any of the people from the older generation who have been recycling in these posts because of the coalition that they had formed, using things to their advantage. They have repeatedly taken the post, prime ministers changing in every 2 years, but the same faces remain there. What we want is a free election, and right now we have a vacuum, and I think people are eyeing that seat. However, what we want is a young representative. For example, our mayor here at Kathmandu Metropolitan, Mr. Balander Shah, who is very popular and has won the hearts of many Nepali citizens. We want people like him to be seen at the spot of the Prime Minister.
Can I also understand from you, Rose, now that there is so much of chaos that is prevailing in Nepal, there's political instability as well. How are youngsters like you really moving forward with this? Yes, there are protests, but of course daily lives have been disrupted. People like yourselves have been very discontented with the government. Then add to that the 26 social media apps being banned by the government. What is your take on how daily lives are moving forward for people like you?
It's really sad to see that a lot of our lives have been on hold since yesterday. The peaceful protest that we initiated. However, since it has turned into a violent massacre, I think every Nepali citizen, what we care about, what us and young people care about, is justice and the right leadership to take in charge. We have had strikes in the past. We have had these types of protests in the past, which has literally taken away so much from our daily lives, like our pro-monarchy protests. But those were not representing us. We did not represent that. Right now, we are educated young people who want to stand for a new change. And I think whatever deficiencies that we're going to have to take in because of the protest happening right now, I think we're ready to take that as an opportunity cost for what we might have in the future. We are extremely sorry, and we, every medical supply, if there's things like hospitals have been a victim of this type of protest. There have been shortages of supplies. We are extremely sorry to see this. We're trying our best to help them, volunteer at those places, but what we really want is change, and therefore I think we'll take the opportunity cost for now.
Which is what I was coming to, Rose, and this is my last question to you. There are many who are criticizing the Gen Z protests for the kind of scenes that are coming out of Nepal. The Parliament building being set on fire, houses being stone pelted, vandalized, and therefore they say that, look, you want a change, you can protest, but what's the need of resorting to stone pelting and vandalism and setting buildings on fire?
Absolutely. I think that the global community is really questioning this, and what's being shown to them has not been the complete truth, because what had happened was different political parties infiltrated our peaceful protest. I repeat, they infiltrated our peaceful protest yesterday, triggering Nepal police, throwing rocks and pebbles into the Parliament house. That was not our intention. That was not what we represented. We represented a peaceful movement. However, today has been an accumulation of anger, of fears, of anger against the massacre of young people. So I may not be able to speak for the violence that has been happening today, but yesterday that was not our intention. We were becoming infiltrated. Evidences have been shown up. Maoist party, they were planning people. Other parties that were not in the power, they were planning people who violated the rules that the government had set for us, and because of them, our children had to take the bullets. Yes.
All right, Rose Cuddle, thanks very much for joining us at the moment.